I think we actually launched successfully. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Symphony. Symphony Entertainment Gaming and Arts is my gaming company that focuses on horror systems, indie games, organic content, and player agency in an attempt to bring a symphonic approach to horror role-playing. I am your host, Bridget Jeffries, and tonight I will also be serving as your game master. We are playing part 2, the finale of The Laraine Estate, written by Sarah Richardson for Kult Divinity Lost, published by Helmgast. Now, you can find Kult Divinity Lost online at modifius.net, Helmgast, and DriveThruRPG. I highly recommend checking out cultdivinitylost.com for free resources, including this scenario and many other resources that we'll actually be using for tonight's stream, such as the player moves, which I think this stream we all have the same one, but we'll find out live. I'd like to give some special culty shout outs to the following entities. One, Red Moon Roleplaying. Listen, their podcast has a plethora of cult. Amazing storytelling, amazing boundary pushing sound effects. They are super great. Definitely check out Red Moon Roleplaying. They have more cult than you can possibly digest, and they'll still leave you wanting more. I also want to give a shout out to Queen Court Games. They have an actual play that they streamed for Cult called Downfall. Guys, it kind of pushed my wig back and it's still doing it. I still haven't finished, but I can only listen to it at chunks at a time because the intensity levels are that high. So I will be including a link here in a second, but definitely check out Queen Court Games and their actual play for Cult Divinity Lost on Downfall. I've got to shout out Seth Skorkowski. If you are not following his YouTube channel, you should be. But he currently has a series going out for Cult Divinity Lost right now that is going over everything from character creation, game mechanics, intros, with more coming and a bunch of scenarios that he's reviewing. And if that wasn't enough cult on your plate, you can actually get into some actual plays, connect with the writers, and do a whole lot more fun stuff if you connect with Ryan over at the Illusion Horror and Con. I am going to post a link to all of those entities right now, allegedly, into the chat so you can connect with all those entities if you choose to. Before we get into the game, a couple quick announcements. Symphony does have a Patreon. So if you like this content and you would like to help us make more of it, please consider backing us on Patreon. That'll be at patreon.com/Symphony Entertainment. Tiers are fleshed out with everything from free product, postcards, access to polls, AMAs. I mean, there's a bunch of amazing content over there. But really, if you can't back us on Patreon, thank you for everything that you guys do to really make this show possible. That's every like, that's every share, that's every time, Mike Diamond comes on with a sponsorship. All those little things really make a big difference. This is a one-woman show. It's just me doing it. So every time you like something on Twitter or Facebook or you comment or you share something, I'm seeing it. And I just want to say thank you. I genuinely appreciate it. Speaking of Mike Diamond and this sponsorship, we are hosting another giveaway this episode. This game is being sponsored by our friends over at the Old Ways podcast. They are giving away a free hardcover copy of the core rulebook tonight. So to enter, 1, you have to be a follower of the channel, and 2, you want to hit bang the Mad Angel. That is ! The Mad Angel into the chat to win. We are going to pull that winner at the end of the Twitch stream tonight. If you can't stay for the whole thing, check your Twitch messages. I will try to reach out to you there before we move on to the next winner. So, without further ado, let's unveil this cast. Cast members, please introduce yourselves. Tell us who you are, where people can find you, the things that you can do, and for now, just the name and the occupation of your PC. Tara, start us off, baby.
Hi, I'm Tara. You can find me at Chaosium Con in a couple of weekends.
Hey!
And on here now and then. My character, I'm playing Desi Reyes, a private investigator.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And moving over to Heinrich.
Greetings, Symphony. My name is Heinrich Mohr. I also am looking forward to seeing everyone at Chaosium Con in a couple of weeks. I'll be on a couple of panels there, and when I'm not doing that, I am a Call of Cthulhu community content creator on DriveThruRPG, also a few YouTube channels on Heinrich Mohr Presents, and one of the organizers for our annual Miskatonic Repository Convention, which will be back this October. And Bridget, just nothing for nothing, but when you said bang that Mad Angel, I very much had a different thought than I think what you were going for. But that shows you the state of mind. We're all in.
We're dialed in, baby. Everyone strap in.
Too easy, Tara. Too easy.
Too easy. Low-hanging fruit. You got to love it. And last but totally not least, our sponsor.
Yeah, hi, this is Mike, and you can find me at the Old Ways podcast and sometimes occasionally dropping in here with the wonderful folks on Symphony Entertainment. We are happily sponsoring the Laraine estate. It has been a fantastic show so far. Anything we can do for you in story mode, we would love for you to come over and check us out at theoldwayspodcast.com. As was mentioned, we're a little bit over now 400 episodes since our inception. And we released 141 last year. That is basically a new episode, fresh content for you every 2.5 days.
Freaking prolific. Just, Mike, I don't know how you do it. You're absolutely incredible. I love you. And then who are you playing and what's your occupation?
I am playing Paz Ortiz, and my occupation is a simple university student.
Simple. University
and I'm sorry,
student.
Bridget, I'm already messing up because I didn't lose my character. I was so hooked up on banging mad angels.
No,
I will be playing Chen Wu, an urban explorer.
You were in character.
Yeah. They were fine.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Thank you, cast. We appreciate it. Content warnings have been discussed with the cast and crew. We have reviewed our red lines. We plan to honor the Kult Divinity Lost Horror contract, which covers forbidden subjects, stop phrases and signs, and scary things. Again, the X card is in play. It can be sent via private message on Zoom, or you can just visibly X me. There will be no judgment passed. There will be no questions asked. We will also be using the green, yellow, red traffic light method, which is officially my favorite safety tool. Safe environments make for better stories, especially when we're dealing with content like this. We can go deeper and further, knowing that mutual respect has been established between all of us. So I mentioned this in the first game. I'm going to re-mention it here. I'm asexual in real life, and the content on the latter half of this game is a whole lot of what I'm not into. I am going to get stretched, and I'm going to be super uncomfortable. And you know what? I'm completely okay with that, and I'm looking forward to it because the 3 other people at this table I know for a fact have my back, and I have tools in place to communicate with them in the event that I, as a storyteller, am not feeling great. And I also know, and hopefully they know and understand that I have their back, and I will respond to their needs as well. And that's just probably one of the sexiest ways to do horror, because you can literally push on some boundaries and know, hey, no, everyone is in, and we've got this. To the viewer, discretion is advised. Kult Divinity Lost is a game for adults. It touches on subject matters that most horror games simply will not. It thrives in the bowels of personal horror. So you too need to be aware of the following content warnings: sex and sexual situations. And I am going to go ahead and exponent that, if that's a word, by 7. Strap in. Body horror, revisiting child death, drowning, child loss and pregnancy, heavy amounts of grief, suicide, and orgies times 7. If this isn't your bag, that is completely okay. I promise. If it is, welcome to Kult Divinity Lost. It's late October 2018, somewhere in the South. 3 strangers have come together to locate and likely save Pollyanna Popper. Image just went out for you guys. Who is a practitioner of urban exploration. After promising one hell of a show for this upcoming Halloween, Popper Polly fell off of the grid. No one heard from her for weeks. That is until that YouTube video surfaced. You know the video, you've seen it. It's the one where she was crying and screaming about a beautiful fire. She said that she was lost somewhere beneath the Laraine estate. And that's where we're going to return, to the Laraine estate, where Desi Reyes and Paz Laraine Ortiz are currently in the servants' quarter with their fellow Chen Wu. Chen Wu has been impaled, penetrated all the way through, with the long, rusty, peeling metal leg of an antique twin-size bed. Chen, you're currently staring nose to nose directly into the face of Chen. They've also been penetrated. Both of you have blood covering your mouth and your teeth. Yours is gurgling up from the back of your throat. Theirs is from the kiss that you two shared. Both of your flies are unzipped. You both share matching gaping holes in your stomach. Yours is through the back and the front. Theirs is just through the front. And Chen looks at you lovingly, and they say it's not your fault. And as you're looking into their eyes, you can see that their eyes are fading. It's getting dark. They're getting woozy. They're dying. Chin, you're watching yourself die inches away from you. You can feel their body trembling on this pole that is impaled to both of you. And they place a trembling, bloody hand on your cheek, and they look you dead in your face, Chin, and they say, Siwoo wasn't your fault. Okay? Her death isn't on you. And there's something about hearing that from yourself in this moment. Your stability immediately drops by 2. You are also going to gain 2 harm as Chin slips 3 of their fingers directly into that wound in your abdomen, slipping inside of you. The fingers coil around that pole that has you 2 stuck together, and you hear a metallic snap from both inside of you and also from behind you. And there's this sweet release as something slides through and out of you. And Chin looks to you one more time and they say, I love you. And they, along with that metal bar, slide out of you, away from you, and their body clunks on the floor. And I need to keep it together from Desi and Paz, please.
Okay. So Paz has rolled an 18 on the die.
Jesus, an unmodified 18 too.
Unmodified 18. Keep together is will, yes?
You got it. Roll plus willpower.
Mm-hmm. So modified 20.
Before we get over here to Desi, who's already starting the game out so phenomenally. Oh, guys, sorry. Ohio's having another windstorm, and I have a very upset husky. Baby, you can't be under the table right now. I'm so sorry. I know. Sorry. Pass. With like a 21, I think you called out. Talk me through why this isn't bothering you, because damn it should be.
I think Paz's perspective on death, given who they are and who they know they are, and sort of the ultimatum that they've already written for their own epilogue.
Yeah.
They see death as a fixed point, and they likely actually feel strong because Chin gets to experience themselves through their own eyes. They're getting to see through their own illusion. And so Paz likely finds this very empowering. Because what Paz is hoping is that Chen will take this and grow and be stronger because of it. And so he likely is nodding along almost eerily with what, the other Chen is saying, in agreement, like, yes, the death is not your fault. You were going to be okay. And there's probably, he probably fixates a little bit in watching this scene play out.
That's haunting and absolutely beautifully articulated, Mike. Paz, my follow-up question for you with a roll that incredibly high. Your wife, who you left upstairs with her hips open and her legs spread ready for you, that you left upstairs, she does have a meal that you are a big fan of. What is that meal that she prepares for you? She will prepare for you because she's not here yet. You haven't met her.
As we said before, she's early.
She's early.
So I think that meal is beef ribs.
Okay.
Slow cooked in some amazing southern sauces, sweet potatoes, likely some greens. And it isn't the meal. It isn't the food. It's the preparation that Paz will appreciate. It's someone dutifully going out of their way to serve him in that fashion. It's the dedication that really completes the presentation.
There's no reason why you should hear this, because as we've said together, she's early. But the servants' quarters is just off from the kitchen, which you haven't gone to. But you can smell the sauce and the simmering, and that's just sultry heat that's coming off of the beef ribs from the kitchen. You can hear your wife humming. She loves to hum when she cooks. You can hear plates clattering around, and there's something connecting you in this moment to your future. There's something connecting you in this moment to your past, which is this house. And there's something connecting you right now to your presence, which is Chin. And your stability actually rolls back by 1. You gain a stability back. You have surrendered to the house, and the house is going to reward you for that.
Fantastic.
Desi, let's talk about your role, babe.
I am losing my shit.
Okay. What's that look like, Desi, as Chin's body hits the floor?
Wetly.
Wetly. Splat.
Wetly. Yeah. So at this point, Desi is completely overwhelmed, where he had been kind of pushing back and not letting anything breach, not even intentionally, but nothing was totally breaching the wall. He is unable to keep that wall up right now. He was overwhelmed by all of his senses, the smell of the blood, the smell of you can almost smell the pheromones, that sweat that happens, the particular odor that happens when people are very hormonal and deep into it, and dare I say also some fear. I can smell some fear, and the metallic, overwhelming metallic sense of the blood and on the metal to different metals, and then the sounds, the squish, the cries, the just everything, my own sweat. I am completely overwhelmed and I want to crumple to the floor, but I'm terrified because it's covered with blood.
Yeah.
And there's no safe place for me to be. And at this point, I am just backing up into the nearest, driest corner that I can find and sliding down into a fetal position in the corner, not quite touching the floor, but bracing myself against the walls.
That was a haunting description, Tara, by the way. Brilliantly done. Desi backs away from this scene with that roll. It follows you. There's no way you could avoid not stepping in Chin's blood. So there's a bloody foot trail following you to the corner where you just come down to the floor and your reality is beginning to shift. You're going to take a -2 on your stability. And Chin has fallen away from you. And this is what you see. And you're still impaled, by the way. Well, no, he pulled it with him. Correction. He pulled it with you. You are just bleeding from the front and the back.
Yeah, Chen will very slowly rise. If it went for all the blood, one would mistake them for getting up from just the worst hangover imaginable. But they are moving slowly, deliberately, trembling a bit. Each of us seems to be a bit in our own world right now, and that's very much true for Chen as they look down upon themselves, upon their corpse. And there is a flood of emotions that is going on here. The haunting nature, of course, of seeing your own death, your own body in front of you, but also the words of other Chen talking about my sister, Sei Wu, who drowned, and assuring them that it was not their fault. And Chen maybe believing that in this moment. That combined with the pain of having been impaled and still having a gaping wound, as well as just the nature of the body itself, looking somewhat salaciously despite all the blood and carnage, the head tilted just a certain way, the tongue sticking out a little bit. The fact that they died with a hard-on. Chen as a daredevil has always existed in this space or sought out this space right before the reward or the failure, right? That moment when you're in the air and you don't know whether you're going to land safely, the moment right before you jump out of the plane, all of these things. And in this moment right now, Chen begins to believe that they can exist in that moment before consequences, good or bad, that they can exist in that moment forever. And they will walk over to Desi. They will give Paz a brief nod. And of course, the walk is halting, right? They're sort of dragging a leg behind themselves. And they will go over to Desi and they will extend a hand. And looking over to the opening in the servants' quarters that presumably leads beneath the house, Chen will say to Desi, "Come on, I'll go first."
Desi is going to take a moment to be like completely put off by this switch, this what in his mind is a switch from what seemed to be a completely helpless situation and hopeless situation, and seems to Desi should have been overwhelming to Chen, and is going to take that disbelief, that inability to understand, and is just going to flip that post-traumatic stress little switch, and it's going to just go whoop, going to compartmentalize it over on the side and go into survival mode and say, I'm going to deal with that later. It's going to compartmentalize it off and just wall it off, put it back behind that wall, and just rebuild it just like that, like it was never down, because that's what Desi's going to have to do to get out of this and to maybe find his girlfriend. So taking a deep breath, he's going to take Chen's hands and let them help him up. Without a word.
Chen and Desi, as you move towards this cabinet that has been, shifted, you can smell wet earth and something else wafting down or wafting up from these stairs, and you recognize there's a small platform, and then there's a rickety staircase that turns very tightly on itself that heads down. But just before we go, I do want to touch base with Paz one more time. Your comrades are coming together. And Chen, despite what they have suffered, seems to have their head in the game. And Paz, your head is definitely in the game. And the humming from the kitchen stops. A door swings open, and that waft of just succulent meat and the sweetness and the cinnamon that comes with the sweet potato casserole, and your wife is standing there in her previously described voluptuous self with the red hair tied up, and she's wearing an apron, and it's all she's wearing is an apron. And she looks to you and she says, "Dinner will be ready when you come back upstairs."
I smile and I say, I look forward to it.
And she noses over towards Chen as they're disappearing out of view. They'll be okay.
I hope so, for their sake.
And she throws you a wink, and she throws you a kiss, and she turns, and you get just a glimpse of her ass before the door shuts. That was an intentional tease, but she's back into the kitchen, and she's back to singing or humming.
Yeah, I'm gonna ride that keep it together as long as I can to get out of this room, because that kitchen is very inviting for all sorts of reasons.
Game Master, if we are descending,
You are.
is it fair to say perhaps that we are entering a new scene and Chen could perhaps benefit from another daredevil role?
I like that. And I appreciate that interpretation. Yeah. And honestly, this is a new Chin.
All right, got a good roll. Whether that is going to remain a good roll given the -2 penalties I'm suffering these days. So looks like I'm going to get 2 edges that I can spend any time during the upcoming scene. Reminder, those are going to be things like discovering a threat before it discovers me, getting out of the way of an attack, or harming an opponent before they can react. These are usually good things, but as we saw in the fight just now, things change quickly.
Things change very quickly. But no, New Chin, you have a hole in your stomach, a hole in your back, but a newfound fire in your heart.
Oh man, I love that we are leaving behind dead other Chen, old Chen, and walking forwards with new Chen.
Moving forward with New Chin. You guys hit this rickety stair case that is heading down. It spirals, as I said, tightly around itself, and the walls on either side of you are slick with condensation and something else, and they feel like they slide slightly in. I have a very quick question for you guys. Of you all, who has the lowest modifier to their reflexes?
Probably me.
Would you like to know original or following injuries?
Oh no, I have a good modifier. Never mind.
Let's do as we stand today, as would be called upon.
As we stand today, mine's going to be +0 down from +2.
Good for you.
Yeah, I would be the same with Chen. I don't have any negative modifiers that change it. I'm just +0.
Okay. All right.
I'm +2, so
yeah, they can eat it. All right. So I feel like
am I allowed to do an investigate before we go with what you were doing?
Maybe. Because I can't because I can't split my thought process that quickly. Let me cycle back to you. This is probably a maybe. Chin, you are moving your way down the stairs. There's blood trickling through your front and through your back, but you're focused. You're in the game right now, and you turn a corner on this rickety staircase, and the stair gives beneath you, and it's just one of those things where a moment where like your heel drops, the back of that material, slices up the back of your shin, and it doesn't. I'm not going to give you a harm for anything. It's more of like aesthetic damage just from like the pressure and the scrape. But you put your hand into that wall and it comes back with something slick on it. It's clear and mucousy, and just as you move it through your fingers, it has a very, very familiar scent to it, and there are like dollops of white mixed into it, and it doesn't make any sense how a full wall could be lined in that particular bodily fluid, but that's what's on your hand right now.
I will look back at my companions. I will see the trail of blood I'm leaving, sort of like breadcrumbs for them. I'll be easily found if I ever need to be. And I will say, watch your step, and I'll hold my hand up.
I'm going to pull a pair of gloves out of one of my cargo pants pockets. Just like work gloves.
That's a fair move. Because as you guys are looking at Chin's hand, it doesn't make any sense that a wall could be covered in that, but welcome to the House of Love. Desi, you are going to be asking me about an investigate check from where you are now. I won't ask you for a roll because there's nothing that I'm going to give you at this particular moment, but you can cycle back to it once you're off of the stairs.
Okay, then.
I am curious. What were you looking for?
I just wanted to investigate the stairs and the walls, and you had said they're slimy, and I was going to figure out what was on those walls, and you've answered that question anyway.
I'm here for you, babe. I'm here for you. You guys get to the very bottom of the stairs, and you're definitely in some form of an underground cavern. The ceilings are high, 40, 50, 60 feet tall. I mean, you don't remember coming down quite that many stairs. But it was a tight spiral. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. But once you hit here, there's this open cavern, and there are small pathways, hallways that lead to the right and to the left and to forward. It looks like there's maybe 4 of them. But their center of this landing where you are, there's a cast iron metal cage of some sort. And the more you look at it and you like identify its construction, you recognize that it's like one of those antique old school elevators. The door had that stylized L on it for the Laraine, and then like the hops and the barleys and some other, cute little angels playing with like wheat, things that stuck with the nature and the theme of the brewer that, originally built this house. But that gate has been pulled aside. You can see the chute leading up, and it's interesting because you guys did a fairly decent sweep of the first floor. You don't remember seeing an elevator anywhere on the first floor. And as you approach, you can see that there is someone in this particular elevator chute. There are pillows, like those big lounge pillows or the overstuffed pillows you would get on the back of a new couch. They are spread all over the floor, and there is a woman lying in the center of these pillows. She looks to be maybe 70, 75 years old. She's got, her hair's been dyed blonde, but it looks like she hasn't had it touched up in a long time because the gray and the silver is already coming back out. Her skin looks paper thin, unhealthily thin, and you can see the black veins moving through her wrists, her arms, and you can see them moving over her breasts and her stomach because she is completely nude before you. She has her hips hoisted up on a pillow. She has both of her legs spread out, and her head is hanging off of the back of the pillow, where she's almost looking with this glossed, semi-present, non-present look as you guys approach, and she is sliding her left hand in and out of herself as she just leisurely masturbates right there before all of you guys, and is locking eyes with you guys as you approach.
Well, I look to either one of my associates and say, not what I was expecting to find down here, but there's no shame in it.
This house is full of surprises.
Undoubtedly.
I'll call out to the figure that we've come for Polly.
The eyes flitter, they flicker, they blink, and for a moment she's like lucid, and she looks to you and she's getting ready to speak, and then her eyes just kind of fall and they flitter again, and she reaches out a hand to you. It just kind of unfolds, and there are 3 wet sticky fingers that are reaching out to you.
I'm the one wearing gloves, so I'm gonna go ahead and reluctantly take her hand.
She slips her fingers around yours, and she smiles, and she looks to you, and from her position and at her age, she's not very strong, but you can feel a tug. She doesn't say anything to you, but you can feel a tug at your wrist and at your fingers as she's trying to encourage you to come to ground with her.
I know I'm gonna regret this.
Every day of your life.
I'm going to try to resist at first. That wall is there, and ask again. We're looking for Polly. Do you know where she is?
And there's something about saying that name. There's a recognition there. Her eyes flicker again, and she looks to you, and she's getting ready to speak. And this is the first time she opens her mouth, and you realize that she doesn't have any teeth. She doesn't have any dentures in at the moment either. But she's rubbed her gums against each other to the point that they're blistering. They look infected. And she opens her mouth to say something to you again, and then her eyes just flicker. And she reaches beneath the pillow. And as you're there, Desi, you're leaned in and you're close. You can see a handful of things in the room with her. There's a scrap of crimson silk. There's shards of glass, stained and torn purple panties. And it looks like apple cores, 4 or 5 of them that are around. They look pretty fresh. But she reaches under the pillow and she pulls out a wedding band, and she is attempting to slip it onto your ring finger.
Will it fit over the glove?
It will.
I let her do it.
Okay. She slips the ring onto your finger and she just gives your hand a pat, and she points, but she's not pointing at a direction that matters. She's just pointing at a wall. She wants to help you, Desi, but whatever's happening, she's so far gone.
I feel like letting her escape back into her activity is the nicest thing I can do for her. And I say thank you. Is there any other items there? Anything I recognize?
No, nothing else there. Nothing else that you recognize. Just because you're doing a more thorough search, you do notice that she goes back to, per rules as written, leisurely masturbating. There is significant bruising on the inside of her thighs, where it looks like she's on the same track again and again and again. And Desi, you can't help but think for a moment, it's like, I don't know if this is actually pleasurable for her, or if this is just her and rinse, slather, repeat at this point. Because she's doing damage to herself, but she's not stopping.
All right. Well, right now we're trying to find Polly, and we have a lot going on. And I want to make a note to come back and see if we can do anything for her. But right now we need to move forward.
You don't think she's going anywhere? Actually, as you're looking at her, you don't think she's moved in a long time.
I certainly don't have time right now to do anything that's going to alleviate her suffering. So unless anybody brought some drugs or something with them, I think we need to move on.
I agree.
I'm ready to move on.
So as I walk away from her, I want to examine the ring.
Okay. You examine the ring, and there's a small inscription on the back of it. Looks like it's dated, 1920, 1930 something. And it's just, yours forever, Simon.
Do I know that name?
No. There's something haunting about that, isn't it? You don't even know her name. You've seen her at her most vulnerable, and you don't even know her name. You don't even know if she knows her name.
Yeah, I'm going to use that wall to not be worried about those kinds of things right now. There's a little piece of me that is, I mean, obviously I'm disturbed by it, but I can't let myself get lost in that right now. And then of course the private investigator in me wants to follow that story a lot. How did she get here? Where did she come from? How long has she been here? Who's Simon? Is this her ring? Has she just been collecting things? Whose panties are those? All that kind of stuff. But I have to put up that wall in order to keep myself on the current story, the current job.
That distance can be helpful. I'm going to do what I can to close it.
Absolutely necessary. You are.
I'll continue to try. Chin and Paz, you guys have agreed. Yep, we're going to leave Granny to do what Granny is doing. We will reconcile this later. You both turn and you have no idea where the fuck this girl came out of, but Paz, directly in front of you, is a supple, gorgeous, blonde girl with long eyelashes. She's wearing a tank top and short shorts. She's completely barefoot, and she's right there in front of your face. Now, she's going to lean in and kiss the side of your cheek very quickly. It happens so fast, and it's not until she's made contact and she pulls back that you can see it looks like her lips, what's left of them, they almost look like tattered curtains at this point, are bloody and scarred. You can see pieces of her teeth from the top and the bottom. There's a bloody, lip mark on the side of your cheek, and she steps back and she giggles. She goes, "Hi, welcome."
Hi. Nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure to meet you too. And she goes to kiss the other side of your face.
I let her.
Okay. You've got matching blood stains on either side of your cheeks. There's a piece of that lip that has curled up and is now stuck to the top part. So now like her incisor is just permanently visible.
So what brings you here?
Oh, I live here. They send me
yeah?
out to welcome everyone down. Welcome.
Well, thank you. You said they. Who are they?
All of our friends and our family and your family. You're home, right? Your Paz?
I am Paz.
Oh, and she lifts up on her toes and she goes to kiss you on the lips.
Hey, hang on. Where are they?
Oh, it depends. I guess it depends on what type of love you're into. I stay in the theater. I could show it to you. I think you'd really like the theater. I think you'd fit in well there.
I'm sure that I'll see it eventually. We're looking for somebody specific, though. I sort of look back at Desi, a friend of ours.
I pull a picture of Polly out of my wallet.
You reach into your wallet. You pull out the photo, and she's leaning up and over it, and she looks up at you, and she looks at the photo. She looks up to you, and she looks at the photo, and she dips her head very quickly and attempts to kiss just right here beneath your chin.
I steel myself and allow her to do it.
She stops and she looks at you, and there's just this delight that comes over her eyes, and she goes for it a second time. But this time her tongue comes out and she just licks you just from like jugular to the top of your chin. There's blood staining your face. You can feel the scab of her lips on your chin there.
That's a little too far, but thank you.
You taste just like she said you would.
What did she say it would taste like?
Just like you too.
Where
She's
is she?
here.
Can you take us to her?
I'm not allowed to love in that room, but I could show you the way if you'd stop at the theater first.
What is the... I'm very interested in seeing the theater. What kind of love happens there?
Only the best kind. And she tries to slip her hand into yours. I can show you the way.
I still have
It's
my
not
gloves
far.
on.
Those gloves are going to apparently save Desi from everything that happens down here. I've got gloves on.
No, but it's gonna help keep me
Grounded.
for a couple, for maybe one scene. I don't know.
You're good.
What kind of, can you tell me what room Polly's in?
Mm-hmm.
Name of the room?
Yeah, I think they're calling it the ritual chamber.
The ritual chamber.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds very interesting. Do you choose what room you love in?
I think the rooms they call to us. And she comes up next to you and she's cheek to cheek and she kind of like nuzzles the side of your face. The angel knows us. He'll know you too soon.
The angel.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about the angel. As we walk to the theater, will you tell me about the angel?
Mm-hmm. And with that prompt, her fingers cross around your gloved hand and she's pulling you forward. Paz, you're coming too, right?
Of course.
She gives like a shy lover's wave over to you, Chin.
I'll follow my companions even as I watch Desi have her gloved hand or their gloved hand in this person's hand. I guess it's the one with the ring, right, Tara?
Yeah.
I think Chen's only reaction would be, their face is completely cool, quite unemotional, but there'll just be like a break where they and then just return to that same stoic feature. They don't seem to have realized that they had this outburst, and they'll follow along.
Desi, she can't stop kissing you. It's every 30 seconds she has to put her mouth on something. If it's not your hand, it's your elbow, it's your shoulder, it's as close to your face as you will allow it. But it's like she has to put her mouth on something. And as you're looking at her mouth, you're like, so that's yours, huh? That's okay. And if you rebuff her. If you push her away too much, she will start to just slide her fingers through the walls, enjoying the texture, enjoying the warmth, and then she'll come back and join you, and she'll try to kiss you again. And eventually you guys will get to a set of a single pair of like auditorium style doors. And Paz, you've heard of the theater that your great so-and-so built beneath the house. It was one of those things where they would host private shows for their guests, because no one knew the theater existed. It's a very like exclusive invite only type of thing. And you guys are just outside the doors now. And this girl whose name you haven't asked and you don't know, kisses your hand one more time, Desi. And she says, "Are you ready?" It's the
No.
best room, I swear.
I'll open the doors for her.
Okay. Has she been using our names?
Just passes.
How do you know his name?
The house knows his name. And the angel does too.
The house and the angel are not the same.
Or maybe they are. They could be. I guess it depends on how you look at it.
Does the angel have a name?
The angel.
Do you have a name?
It's. And she looks so sad for a moment. You know, as her eyes roll up and to the right with thought, they stick there, they get clocked there, and you can see that this girl is actually trying desperately to remember her name, and her tear ducts fill for a moment, but she won't let herself cry. She stops, she dials it back, and she says, "I don't remember. But I'm loved. I think that's a fair trade."
As long as you're happy.
You will be too. And Chen, let's talk about what you're going to see first as you opened up this door. So this is another large cavern that they have, someone back in the day has makeshifted into an actual proper theater. There are like 2 boxes that are suspended from the walls around like stalagmites, stalactites, whichever one they're called. There's a whole wooden stage with like a catwalk that runs above the top of it, and there are curtains, and there are slightly slanted rows of not chairs, actual theater seating. Like they went all out on this particular array. It's set up perfectly like an indoor theater where they were very intentional to interweave the aesthetics of the cave and the cavern into this theater. And you can only imagine for a moment, like, man, watching a show down here would definitely be one for the books. There's a lot happening, Chin, that you're going to see as you're the first one to open the door, our daredevil. Audibly, the very first thing you're going to get assaulted with is the asymmetrical, and then in some situations, rhythmic thwack, 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 that sound of bare skin on bare skin radiating from the entire theater. It's coming from the boxes, it's coming from the stage, it's coming from all around you, the entire area. The air that hits you feels stagnant and heavy, and it's wet with mold and the scent and taste of sex. It's one of those things that immediately gets into the back of your throat, and it's almost difficult to breathe. And then there's just this ongoing symphony of wails and moans of pleasure and whimpering and sighs, all again accented by that thwack, 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 thwack of just skin on skin on skin. That's what you're immediately catching just as like an overwhelming moment before I get into some additional details.
I'll look back at my companions, and I'll, while looking at them, take a step inside.
Oh, the Such a creepy image.
I'll step into the theater and give a look around, appreciating the architecture. I think is likely the best way. And then I'll look over at Chen and say, one person's mundane and desperate existence is another person's technicolor.
Mm. Oh, Desi, you're muted. Oh, if you have that on your Symphony bingo card, make sure you collect it.
Yeah. Sorry. That was barking.
You're good.
Is there any art, or are there any signs, dedication plaques, anything like that outside or inside?
Nothing
right
that you're
inside the
seeing
theater?
immediately. No dedication plaques, no art. You do notice that the curtains are shredding apart, just being eaten by time and mold. They're wet. They're heavy. You're surprised that they're actually still being holstered up. They haven't given too much care to the fabric. But no, nothing that you're seeing as far as like any type of text or anything on the front or the inside.
No pictures, or nothing.
Mm-mm.
Okay, I'm gonna follow the other two in.
Okay. I think what I'm going to do for this particular scene, I'm going to try it on the spot because here we are. I think I'm going to split this into a try scene where I'm just going to jump back and forth between all of you guys and give you a different image, even though you are wholly aware of everything that's happening around you. I'm just going to give you guys individual images and we can just see how it works. So, Chin, you are the first in, and you were hit with the initial assault of obviously what was happening in the theater. You immediately look over and you can see that there are several, you're assuming single persons who are reclining on more of these big lush pillows all around the stage, and they are watching couples in the absent throes of love. They may kiss each other, they may point, they may offer instructions, they may masturbate themselves as they're watching this entire scene. But it's one of those moments that you're in a theater, you are watching all of this, but these singles appear to also be in a theater of some sort as they are watching these couples enjoy each other to the fullest lengths that they're able to do. Splitting scene over to Paz. Paz, you're there, and a woman, a brunette that appears to be in her 40s, she comes up to you and she is completely nude. Her skin feels a bit too tight, wrapped around her body. You're beginning to see some of her ribs. You can see that she is suffering from something from a nutritional standpoint, which is causing her to kind of pull in on herself. And she comes up to you and she pulls her hair up into a ponytail and she just wraps it in her hands, and she turns her back to you and she looks over her shoulder and she says to you, "Pull my hair and ride me hard." And Desi, you have the girl who can't remember her name. Her hand is there in front of you, or wrapped around your fingers, and just off to the side from where you are at your feet, there is a man who is laughing hysterically. This is the funniest moment he has ever experienced, and he is stuck in a loop where he cannot stop laughing. And all while he's laughing, he has a small, maybe a 6-inch white wax candle that hasn't been lit, that he is attempting to continually to try to shove into himself. Those are your setups. I'm going to immediately just start splitting screens. Chin, you are aware of everything around you.
I'm gonna head over to the row of voyeurs, and I will take out my cell phone as I do, and I will comment to them, briefly glancing at some of what they're looking at. It seems that you all see a lot. Have you seen this girl? And I'll hold up the video of Polly Papa that all of us saw before coming here. So it's very disturbing graphic.
You show the graphic to the voyeurs who are watching, and all of them have their full attention on you now, Chin. They're no longer enjoying the activity that's happening behind them, but you can still hear the thwapping of skin on skin. You believe one of the women behind you is getting ready to come based on the way that her voice is escalating. And all of these followers lean in and they watch Popper scream. They watch her cry. They watch her talk about a beautiful fire. And as soon as the video ends, one of the gentlemen just hits the arrow and replays it. And they all just continue to watch again. No one speaks to you.
I'll let that go for a few more rotations.
Okay. It goes twice. It goes a third time. The woman behind you finally peeks. She, from what you can tell, just instinctively kind of looking over your shoulder, she switches partners and immediately starts again. And on the fourth time, they go to hit the button. And what do? They go to hit the
I will lift
replay.
the phone up so that they can't easily hit the rewind button from their seated position, and I'll ask again. Where is she? And I'll sort of dangle the phone lower as a clear incentive to try and get information out of them.
Chin, they're so fascinated by that phone. They're so taken with that video. If there were 5 people there, 4 just remain in their crouched or their seated positions, but they're following that phone. But there is one gentleman who stands and he looks to you and he says, I don't know.
I will toss them the phone, and I will walk away.
Chin, they maul it. They maul it like blood in the water with piranhas coming at it. They maul it. They push at each other. They pull at each other. They grab at each other's hair. I don't know if you've ever heard the sound of hair leaving and being snatched away from a scalp, but they completely maul it until a final victor comes together and is able to watch the video. And they almost just kind of like surrender to this person, and they're all just dialed in. And you walk away hearing Popper screaming and crying about a beautiful fire.
And Chen thinks to themselves, man, I just threw away my phone like it didn't matter. And then Chen realizes, right, it doesn't matter. There are no consequences. And keeps walking away back towards their companions.
Pass.
She's pretty intentional. She's pretty direct with what she's looking for.
Pull my hair and ride me hard.
Okay. I take my right arm and I grab the back of her hair and coil it around my fist and make sure I have a real tight grasp on it.
Her neck snaps back. She looks pleased.
I'll lean forward and whisper in your ear. What is it worth to you?
And she moans back to you everything.
Everything's a big word. You sure you can fit it in your mouth?
I'm good. I'm a green light. That just took me off guard. I'm good. Just give me a second.
I'll give you some narrative. I'll run my hands down the side of her body.
Actually, real fast, color check, because I can see Tara's face too. I need a table color check right now.
I'm good.
Of course, Mike's good. He's in lead right now.
Right.
We're green.
Green. Heinrich.
Yep, green.
Bridget is green. She's uncomfortable, but she's a full green. Mike, narrative is back to you.
With my other hand, I want to make sure that I feel each and every rib in her midsection. I want to take that hand and run it down to her thigh and see how taut the skin is before I say to her, everything is a lot. How much do you have left?
And as your hand moves over her ribs, and you can you can tell past, you don't know when the last time she had a meal, at least a nutritional one. By the time your hands get to her hips, they readjust and they shift, and she brings her knee up, opening herself up to you. And she says to you, you can take everything that I've got. Just pull my hair and ride me hard.
I'm going to pull her hair for certain back just a little bit. I want to give her an iota of what she's looking for, because I need something from her. But the question is can she provide it? So I'll pull her back and her hair back and arch her just a little bit more and say, I'm looking for something, and I'm willing to give you an even exchange if you can give me what I want.
And she looks over her shoulders, and past, she has tears running down the side of her face. She's not crying, but she has active tears running down the side of her face, and she pants at you and she says, what do you want? What do I have to give you for you to pull my hair and ride me hard?
I need to know where Popper is.
And there's a moment where you're going to have to tell me what you're going to do. She is going to try to rip her head away from your hands.
No way. Absolutely not. I keep a firm hold on the back of her hair all the way up tight to the back of her neck, so that way there is no give room. So if she pulls hard to the right, to the left, up or down, all she's going to get from that is pain.
Okay. She pulls, and as your fingers are going into her scalp, her pickup line must be pretty effective, because you've got a firm grasp on her hand, but the fingers, or the base of the skin on the back of your fingers, is catching bald spots all through her hair. One of them that you go across is scabbed. Another one that you go through feels wet. You can recognize that, when you do pull your hand out, there's a smear of blood. So the whole pull my hair and ride me hard thing has been working out for her, but it has been taking a toll probably on everything, especially the back. But she yelps as she's not able to escape. And she says, I think she's in the ritual chamber.
Yeah? You think? You think she's in the ritual chamber? I can get you everything. You just have to talk to me. You have to trust me. You can trust me. I'm your priest. I'm your shrink. I'm part of this family here. I'm your connection to the switchboard of the soul. That's my job in life. Now, is she there or not?
She is.
Where is the ritual room?
I don't know. I can't leave this room.
I smack her ass as hard as I can.
And she cries out in both pain and pleasure, which causes her weight to shift, which is pulling on her hair more. You can feel something give, something rip. Again, it's a very terrible sound when hair forcibly leaves a scalp in that measure, but you've still got her hand. Blood is starting to trickle down the back of her neck, and she screams at you, I don't know.
I let her hair go. And you can't give me everything.
She drops to the floor. She starts backpedaling away from you.
I look down at my hand, wishing that I had gloves like Desi does. Damn it. I'm going to pass a common person here who's in the throes of, thrusting, etc., and use them as a towel. Sorry about that. Good luck. And I'll go back to...
But does your hand come back cleaner or dirtier?
You know what? I'm not really. I'm focused on other things right now.
Fair.
I guess I'm walling that hand off for the moment.
The moment. We're just gonna let that go for a moment.
A lot of compartmentalizing going on our part. Yeah.
Paz, you rub your hand, her blood from her scalp, off on. Let's do this group of 4 that's as written. There is a foursome so lost in each other's bodies that they have forgotten to eat, and the candlelight makes their crazed shadows in the hollows of their ribs. You're able to rub your hand off. on that. And in your peripheral vision, you catch this brunette pulling herself off of the floor. She looks terrified. Her eyes are locked onto the side of your face. It looks like she wants to escape. It looks like she wants to flee. And then there's a moment where she stops and she blinks and she turns to the nearest person to her and says, "Pull my hair and ride me hard." Desi, you have a maniacally laughing gentleman on the floor who is doing sorry, the husky's underneath the desk again. I'm so sorry. Baby, I know you're upset with the wind. I'm sorry. God bless her. I can't even lock her out. She'd go through the door. I know, baby. You have a gentleman who is making decent enough work with inserting this white candle inside of himself as he's now locked eyes with you and is just laughing hysterically. Oh, you're muted.
Everyone gets their kinks differently, gets their kicks differently. I've never understood the candle thing myself, but more power to him, I guess. Does he look emaciated as some of these other people do?
He does.
He doesn't look like he's going to be a credible source for information. So,
that laughing is ringing in your ears, Desi. It's going in between your ears, through you. And have you ever thought about playing with a candle? You said that you didn't understand it, but that doesn't mean you haven't thought about it. Have you ever thought about it, Desi?
I mean, I've talked about it with women I've dated. It's just never been appealing to me. And again, other people might like that kind of stuff, but I'm not into it.
Is Popper into it?
Popper's a very unique girl. I'm gonna call her a girl. She likes a lot of stuff. She's an adventurer.
That's a clever way of answering my question there, Desi. So I guess we can take that as a yes.
I'm trying to be a gentleman here.
I understand. It's just us. That's just the house and you.
Just the house and me. The house already knows.
The house wants to hear you say it.
Yeah, she likes it. Not necessarily with a candle.
The house appreciates your clarification. The gentleman is making pretty good work of himself at this point. He's rotating both his hips and the candle, and it looks like he's found an angle that is working for him, and he can't stop laughing about it. And he's looking dead at you, Desi. I mean, it's here. You can't help but think he's doing this for you.
He just can't help but think if he's laughing, he's doing it wrong.
Anything else in the theater? Oh, sorry to cut you off. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm gonna, with that thought in my head, I'm gonna ask him if he's okay.
He responds with a series of low, hoarse giggles. He's cracking himself up, Desi. He's going to start snorting, which makes him cough. And then he goes back to laughing.
I can't envision any way that this interacting with this guy is going to help me find Popper. So I'm going to take one last look at this oddness and without judgment, turn away.
Okay. The brunette has found someone to pull her hair and ride her hard. She looks happy.
We all have goals.
We all have goals. She looks happy. She's satisfied. The people on the stage, the couples, continue swapping partners. Once one of the partners finds their climax, the singles are still mauling each other over, playing with this phone. And Chen, you just know they're going to do that until that battery dies. And then God help anybody who's around them when that battery dies. And where do you guys head next? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I'll confirm that all of us came up empty in our investigations, and we'll look around to see if there is an obvious path of egress other than the one that through which we entered. And if not, then Chen has a follow-up move. But if there is a way to go, then we'll lead the way there.
That was my next move too, is to look for alternate exits, closets, doors, things like that.
Yeah. There are, you can sweep the entire theater. It's just moving around all of these people. It's having to deal with that taste, because it's beyond, it's overpowering your scent at this point. At this point, you're just tasting this entire room. Your fingers slip in and out of the walls that are consistent in this room as well as you're looking around. But there's nothing else here of the theater of use. You can turn over every closet. You can open every door. When you do finally leave the theater, it looks like this particular hallway, this was the dead end of it. So you would have to backtrack, go past Granny, and choose another one of those paths.
Yeah, I think that's the plan then.
Let's do it.
Okay.
You guys head back. Granny is doing what Granny does. She looks at you upside down with her eyes rolling. She might wave at you.
Make our way to a different hallway or whatever. I'm going to comment that I'm guessing that is one of the tamer things that we're going to see today.
That sounds about right.
Don't worry. We'll find Polly.
Chen, how are you acting normal with all of this?
I look back at Desi and seem perhaps somewhat inhuman, because most of us have some emotion showing through, unless we've really reached that stage of becoming sociopathic. And Chen will say, just living in the moment.
Many more moments to go then.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't matter, I say, and I turn back around and keep walking.
All right. So past our self-loving grandmother, there are other exits.
Tell us about them.
Yeah, from this main room, very similar to the corridor that the poor girl who couldn't remember, the kisser, that couldn't remember her name, led you down. There are 4 other ones that, just lead into the darkness. They may be lit with candles that are on the floor. They may have lanterns, attached to the wall. But there are 4 other of these winding paths that you can choose from. The tricky thing is just they immediately turn out of view, so you can't really stand and get a good eye. It's almost as if you have to travel them. You have to explore them. You have to go in.
Are
Good.
there any differences that we can see at all? Like anything, any markings, anything unique about each of these paths from what we can see? I mean, is there one of those directional signs that says theater that way, ritual room that way?
Bruh, I want to give you ritual room so bad. You have no idea how bad I want to give you a placard that says ritual room. That is hysterical. Yeah, actually, you know what? I'll give you this one. Because I was half tempted to allow the chat to choose which scenes you guys went through downstairs, because I knew you couldn't do all of them. So, yeah, you know what? I will give you that there's a placard on the wall, and here's what you get. One of the arrows points towards the bowling alley. One says caverns. And that's all I'm going to give you.
So 2 of them are unmarked.
Yep.
Splendid.
unmarked doesn't even begin to scratch the surface. It almost looks like someone has pulled the metal down.
What do you think?
I think we go through the caverns next.
There.
And not much for bowling anyway.
Although weird things do happen there, so it's possible.
I don't think we're at any loss or of weird so far.
Mm.
They sort of gesture to the 70, the octogenarian masturbating on the set of pillows.
Her eyes are rolling.
You might see that Chen is once again fingering their wound a little bit. You know, sometimes when you suffer an injury, right, like there's just something alien about what your body has turned into, and certainly having a hole in you that perhaps has been stuffed filled with as many bandages as I would have had in my tiny little urban explorer backpack, as well as the tiny backpack from other Chen, since it was an
That's
exact
right.
copy. So it's stuffed fully.
When you say fingering,
So Chen is it's almost like touching the puckering of the wound, like running their fingers around the hole where they were impaled. But what Chen is trying to figure out is, because there are no consequences, is this when Chen should try and look beyond the illusion to try and find the ritual room? Or is it likely enough that we will find Polly in the cavern? And because of the video and having just played it and the way it sounded sort of underwater to Chen, I think they consider the caverns a pretty good bet. But if that doesn't work out, Chen may resort to other measures.
Ominous. Resort to other measures.
Shit, I'm still getting over him sticking his finger in himself. Okay.
Just running it around the rim.
That's didn't help. Woo!
I'm sorry.
No, I love it. This is brilliant. Woo! I'm still green. I'm delightfully
Just
uncomfortable.
remember Desi's question of how is it that Chen is acting just so normal. And I agree. It's amazing.
Beautiful things happen when you surrender to love.
is that what this is?
It is. You haven't seen it? Don't worry. We'll show you. So to the caverns?
To the caverns.
The caverns.
Okay. You guys lead, or you move down a quiet hall that turns and twists. This one is the one where it does have like the little alcoves that have the lanterns hanging on it. And you notice the further you move into this particular hallway, the ground feels a little bit more moist. You go from just like, pure sand to like that wet where your heels sink in a little bit, and eventually it feels like you're just moving through like mud. There's been a lot of moisture coming from somewhere. You quickly notice that as you finally turn this left corner, there's this massive cavern. It has to be 100 feet at its top, and there's light that's peering through it. And as you look up, you're just like, oh, you know what? When we were at the stables, we passed that row of rose bushes. We obviously didn't go in the rose bushes, but this has to be about where it is, and that's cemented by the realization as you look up, and there are beams of light coming in, that there are rose petals that are just dancing and falling and drifting from the ceiling onto the ground. This entire area feels muddy. There are small pools of standing water. There's a stifling odor in this room, and it's interesting as you enter into this cavern. It almost feels like the exterior lining of it is very, very dark, and there are glimpses and sounds of people moving about in the darkness. You can see like a glimpse of like a bare hip or a hand. As you're looking around the ground, you can see human bones. You can see a finger that has been separated from the hand. It still has a ring on it. And every once in a while, one of these pale creatures will attempt to dart out and grab something, but it looks like they're doing everything they can to dodge the light. And as you listen, there's no reason why you know what this sounds like. You can reconcile that with yourself, but you can hear the sounds of bones being chewed on all around the rim of this room. And there is one person here. There is one person that all three of you recognize for various reasons. This is Mark Straub. Picture going up now. He is walking through the room. He's walking through the light, and he's picking up scraps of whatever he can and just tossing it almost like a zookeeper would do into the shadows. And anytime he tosses something, he eventually picks up that finger with the ring. He tosses it, and you can just feel the movement, scamper, run, and then you can hear, some type of minor conflict, scuffling, and then that chewing sound comes. And it doesn't appear that Mark recognizes you or sees you guys yet. Here is Mark for those who need it. Mark is, you know what? Let me go to her NPC section now to make my life easier. It would be if she put it in the NPC section, so let's not go there. Mark, from where you guys all know, is another urban explorer, but he's more on the juvenile amateur side of it. He's just not getting started in the last 3 or 4 years. He's not even what you would consider a competitor of Polly by any means. He's not in the same game. He's not in the same league, but he wants to be. He genuinely wants to be. That's who you see down here at this moment, tossing scraps into the shadows.
Do we recognize him from our knowledge of adventurers that have been going missing there?
Yeah, that's a great question. Let's reconcile a couple of things there. One, he was not in a known group to have visited the Laraine estate, except for Paz. Paz, you sent one of his friends here. You don't really remember if Mark went with him. Maybe he did. He's down here now. But you definitely said an associate of Mark's down here. He was in group number 2. Polly was group 3.
Okay. Have we seen anybody else that we recognize?
You can't get a full face of anybody that's here right now, except for Mark.
I mean, in the theater, did we recognize anybody?
Oh, that would be great. Yeah, retroactively, you're going to probably say, let's say like 1d10 of the people in the theater are of those 3 groups that Paz sent out. Great call out. Retroactively, program that into your experience. Thank you so much.
I'm going to make sure that I'm standing in a shaft of light. And
that's smart.
I'm going to take a minute to kind of like mentally separate myself from everything. Oh, hi, Miko. That's going on that I've been seeing, and process one thing.
Okay.
And that is that so many of these individuals have been emaciated, like they haven't eaten. And it makes me realize we've been here for a while, and I take a granola bar out of my pocket, one of my pockets.
Desi, you're ravenous.
I'm going to eat this granola bar in 2 bites.
Ravenous. You've never been this hungry before. You cannot think of a moment in time or life that you've been this hungry for. You've only been in the house for a month at this point, right? But a month is a long time to go without eating. I'm so sorry. You guys have only been here an hour or 2. That's my apologies. You are ravenous. Hands reach out as crumbs hit the floor. One of these creatures darts at you, but immediately skids to a stop and scampers back when they get back into the light. And you see something else. You now have Mark's attention. Because he's standing directly in front of you, watching you eat. He's watching your lips. He's watching you chew. He's watching you tear through this granola bar. He's just on the edge of the light. And now that you can see him, you can see that it looks like he has pierced his cheeks on both sides with 2 of those hot pink carabiners, Polly. And he's just looking at you while you're eating. He looks so hopeful. And he looks so desperate.
I take another granola bar out of my pocket.
And his nose follows it.
I offer it, not where he can reach it, but I hold it up and make it clear that I'm making it a possibility that he could have it. I said, where where's Popper?
And he looks to you. And he closes his eyes. He almost winces with hearing his name. He looks down. He looks back up to you. And he says, "Why are you everything that I'm not?"
What do you mean?
And almost like with a shade of insecurity, he pulls his arms across himself and he's holding his elbow in his palms. "You couldn't make her love me the way that she loved you. You're just better at everything."
Only at the things that I'm better at. I'm sure you're better at some things than me.
She didn't see it that way.
Some people aren't made to be together.
And he closes his mouth and he nods, and you don't know what he's doing with his tongue, but whatever it is, it's pulling that carabiner further inside of his mouth. And it's rotating it around. You can see that the skin is stretching and it starts to rebleed from wherever it's already healed.
Where is she?
Where you can't get her. Where I can't get her. I came down here to save her, you know? Did
She
you see the
wants to
video?
be- I did. Is that why you're here?
Yeah. He looks at the granola bar, almost as if he's visibly weighing, like, is this enough to get me a bite? He's not saying it, but that's what you can see that transactional behavior in his face. He goes, "I knew she was coming here. And when I didn't hear from her for a while, I came to the house. I found her recorder upstairs in the servants' quarters. I didn't know whether she was playing a joke or if it was a hoax. But I wanted to show her. I wanted to show her that I was strong like you are. I wanted to show her that I wasn't a coward. I wanted to show her that I wanted to coax her out. I wanted to. So I took the video home and I hacked her account and I uploaded it. 'Cause I thought she'd be impressed, or I thought she'd come out of hiding, but she didn't. She didn't. She didn't. So I came back because I was going to be the one to save her. Not you. Me. I was going to save her. And now she's lost to both of us. And I don't know why.
Thank you for posting that video.
What?
Thank you.
Why are you thanking me?
How far away is he from me?
How far do you want him to be away from you? With the beam of light, with you having control of the distance.
Like, just beyond arm's length.
Okay. That's where he is.
I take a half a step toward him. The granola bar, I'm controlling so that he can't easily grab it. But with my other hand, I'm gonna reach out and put it on his arm, like on his forearm, just gently, in a loosely mannish kind of way. In a kind of a sporty, lightly macho, I guess. Thanks for posting that. I really appreciate it. You let us know what happened to her. And I appreciate that. Thank you, man.
He takes the affection from you, does he? And he almost looks up to Paz and Chin, who are, there at the doorframe, to almost like reaffirm, like, yeah, someone acknowledged me. I did do a good job. And he takes
right thing.
I was going to save her. I came back here to save her.
That was really brave of you, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. But now I can't have her. And you can't have her. Maybe I can have you? And he goes to grab you and pull you out of the light. I need you to please roll me and avoid harm.
12.
Ooh,
I don't know why. No, I didn't change my name.
you're okay. With a 12, you avoid the worst of it, but the GM decides if you end up in a bad spot, lose something, or partially sustain harm.
Do I get a reflex advantage on that?
You do. Is that going to pull you up to a 14 or above?
Yeah, I'm going to be +2 on that, so it'll be a 14.
You're still in the same spot. You avoid the worst of it, but the GM decides if you end up in a bad spot, lose something, or partially sustain harm. Let's put you in a bad spot. You reaffirmed Mark's confidence, but he grabs onto your wrist and he drags you out of the light and now has you pinned onto the ground. I need you to please roll me. Nope. That's it, because I'm not going for harm. He has pulled you out of the light. He has you onto the ground, into the darkness. Your back hits with a splash. He opens his mouth. He's going in to bite you. And Paz and Chin, you can recognize there's a whole shift in the shadows, as almost if someone is ringing a dinner bell saying it's time.
So...
Am I allowed to react yet?
Yeah. And so from my understanding of reading the rules, Kult doesn't really have an initiative system. We just kind of go at this shit and make rolls at each other. So everyone can jump in and have the time of their life on this one. Because I don't roll at all. I just respond.
Well, I'm going to shove that granola bar into his mouth.
Okay.
And I'm going to try and roll back into the light, even if I have to take him with me.
Ooh, I like that. That feels like a keep it together roll to me.
Okay. We know how good I am at those.
You're going to be okay. Nope.
Do you want to hear everyone's actions and see how it all meshes together?
I absolutely love that idea. And don't forget, you guys can still hinder and help. That is a thing still.
Yeah, I'm worried about just doing a straight up helping roll, because any roll I attempt probably is going to fail. So Chen is going to whip around that small Urban Explorer backpack that they have. They'll unzip it. We'll see the camera sort of look inside the bag. It's very dark, but we see a flashlight there.
Okay.
And Chen's hand reaches in and goes past the flashlight and pulls out the flare.
Ooh.
Holy shit. Your fingers wrap around the flare. You pull up. What's your intention?
Gonna try and use it like a torch. Just head to where Desi is. And head, let's keep in mind that Chen is like moving slowly, right? Like it's almost reaching the flare into the darkness to create light, to provide Desi an opportunity to get themselves out and extricate themselves. Because Chen, sure as fuck, is not in a position to tussle with anyone at this point.
I respect that. Chen, roll me and act under pressure, please. I know I'm supposed to be ignoring chat, but the Nature Valley granola bar really got me. Ooh, Chen!
And Chen is a cool person. They usually have a +3, but even with the -2 penalty, that's still going to turn that into an 18.
Holy shit, that is absolutely great. Tara looks so relieved. Pass, what do you want to do in this round?
Boy, there's so many things I could do.
So many things.
I'm fairly concerned about the feeding frenzy that likely is about to take place. And so I think I want to sort of split the effort a little bit and assist Desi in getting back into a place in the light.
Okay.
That light also being bolstered by Chen's flare.
Yeah.
And so while Chen might not be able to move forward fast enough for the rapidity that the scene is sort of climaxing towards, I want to grab Desi and make a strategic effort to pull them back into the light.
Okay.
And that also includes not having any hand in saving Mark.
Oh.
Some, because memories are meant to fade. They're built that way.
Somebody put that on a quote board. Diamond, I feel like this is a great helping or hindering role.
It is.
And I would love to give you, and I would love to go ahead and, what are you arguing on this one? Your reflexes? I would also give you willpower if you wanted it.
I would absolutely take willpower.
Yeah, that feels good. Because you're about to join the feeding fucking frenzy.
Yeah, that's not a great roll for him. So that's a 7.
Ooh. Copying off of me now.
Yeah,
Hey.
you guys are having a good time, aren't y'all?
We're just trying to help.
Okay.
This is
Love
what helping
story
looks
along.
like.
Yeah.
This is what helping looks like. Okay, let's have some fun and split this up right now. Desi, from my understanding, you were shoving a granola bar into Mark's mouth and making an attempt to roll into the light. What went wrong before Paz even came over and made it worse?
What went wrong?
Yeah.
He bit down on the granola bar and clamped down on my glove. So
Okay.
that when I pulled my hand away, I don't have a glove on that hand anymore.
Okay.
Did it maybe get hooked up on the ring? Like that tooth? got
No, it
hooked
was
up
the
on
other.
ring?
It was the
Ah,
other.
it was the
hand.
other one.
There was the
My
other one.
left hand. She put the ring on my right one. This is on my left. This is my left hand.
You rolled a 9. I almost feel like when he bit through the glove, he bit through some of you too. Maybe just the top of a fingertip.
I was hoping you wouldn't notice that.
But I'm here for you, babe. And I feel like, blood in the air right now is amazing, especially when the dinner bell just rang.
Yeah, he probably did.
So he is going to enjoy a nice combination of Nature Valley granola bar mixed with the tip of Desi's finger. Probably the middle finger that he gets in, and his eyes go wide at the taste of blood. You can see the carabiners are spinning as like piece of granola peek out of the back of his cheek or the outside of his cheek. And that was your failed. Keep it together. No, I like this enough. I like this where it is. I'm going to reverse because so far, Chin was the only successful one. What the fuck went wrong, Pass?
Oh, I stumbled in the darkness between the two figures. And unfortunately, as Mark is trying to just swallow as much of the granola bar as he can, instead of grabbing Desi by the shoulder and pulling him back, what I actually end up doing is pulling Mark further on top of Desi, which is just going to sort of just paint his face with blood and granola. And it's not helpful for anyone at all.
I like this. So you three are a nice little shamble ball on the floor. Absent the light, it's so close, but it's so far away, and you know the others are coming. Chin, with this absolutely spectacular 18 roll, you pop the flare. Red flare?
It is a red flare, and I'm hoping to hobble my way over to this melee on the floor so that I can essentially expand the light and create a circle of light around them so that Mark is the only one they're having to deal with. But of course, it's a red flare, so the description that we just heard from Paz about the blood in the granola bar, it's all in red light, which is sort of being held above them.
Yes. Chin with an 18 in this particular house, so close to the angel that's beneath your feet. You guys don't know that, but somehow you can feel it. You pop that red flare, you stand over your compatriots here, and you hear a small female child's voice say to you, what was a nickname that Siwoo used for you?
For me
For you.
specifically?
An affectionate nickname that she used to use for you.
I think it would be something having to do with Chen's face. Stone face.
Stoneface was her affectionate nickname for you. Oh my god, I love it. You can feel a bit of a pressure right
Because
beneath that.
she would always try and make Chen's face crack.
That doubled down on the cute. Oh my god. Heinrich, you're such a good role player. Just beneath that gaping wound on your back that's been double stuffed with bandages from 2 different Chen's backpack. You feel a small hand on your hip, and you hear Stoneface behind you. And you can recognize that something is actually coming in very quickly from behind you as you're standing there. And more or less, because combat rounds are very funky in Kult, we're just going to kind of work off of each other. It's an ongoing thing, Chen, that any puddle that you are bathing in this murky light, you can see your drowned sister in, and she's helping you direct traffic. She's letting you know when a threat is coming in from the north. She's letting you know when someone is getting too close. You can't see her. You can feel her. You can hear her. You can smell her. But she's helping you direct traffic. And it's just wherever that red, urky light beams over a puddle, you can see her standing there backwards, giving you direction. Both Paz and Desi, I want you guys to take 2 harm. From the slip and fall, from the bitten off fingers, from Mark biting and thrashing and clawing at you guys here. But Heinrich, go ahead and give me narrative, because he can't stay in this flare light for long. He's gonna bite and take what he can to go, but he can't stay within this radius for long.
Is Mark coming after Chen?
Right now he's not coming after Chen. He seems to be on the ground, focused on Desi and Paz, whoever he can bite, eat, scrape, scratch.
I think all Chen can do is move around this melee that's going on, following the guidance of their sister, stabbing the flare into the dark over and over again. We just see sort of silhouettes shrink away as they do. And Chen is stone-faced. I think this is for Chen. The thought process is that they're realizing that they are existing in that state, that state of usual just a moment of adrenaline, but now it is ongoing and never ending, because after all, how else could they be speaking beyond the realm of death to their dead sister? And so Chen will just work to buy enough time for Paz and Desi to extricate themselves from Mark, or alternatively for Mark just to no longer be able to bear the light and have to scurry off.
With a description like that, I'll give you both. At some point, he can't tolerate Tara's face. At some point, he can't tolerate the light. He's gonna go in for one more bite at Paz's, shoulder, but he can't. He's moving backwards, almost like a cat, where he's crawling himself out. He backs into the beam of light, which he yelps, and then he alters his course. And now there's just a quadruped figure settled between puddles and beams of light that is just snarling at the 3 of you, as just this crescendo of snarls and yaps and bites and whimpers is cutting from the walls around you. And Desi, you hear Mark said she was supposed to love me, coming from the darkness, from the ground.
Some next level jealousy here.
Yeah, and for Paz's part, I'm trying to get, if Mark has backed off, sort of in this reverse crab walk method, I'm trying to get Desi and I on our feet and in a safer place before we get fed on.
Yeah, I could imagine the 3 of us kind of forming this triangle with the flare at one point and us backing away, using the existing light and the flare light to make it back to the door. And right before we leave this place, Chen will just throw the flare into the dark as close to Mark as they're able to get it. But, no worries if that goes off target.
I just love the idea of you guys backing out of the cavern to just a sea of screams. Painful, agonizing screams. Tara, I cut you off. My apologies.
Oh, we missed the opportunity to ask him how to get to her. Oops.
Chen says, I think I've got an idea.
Okay.
And so if we are back in the room with our favorite grandmother,
I
Chen
need to
is
take a
going.
moment to wrap my hand
Yeah.
because I'm
Yeah.
bleeding from my middle finger here.
Chen will look apologetically, sort of looking down at the bandages that are stuffed inside them and say, I don't think you want any of these.
I have a dry pair of socks in one of my pockets and probably a little bit of duct tape. And so I'm going to take one of those clean socks and wrap it around there and tie it off with some duct tape.
Whew.
So Chen is going to say more to them, to themselves perhaps, than their companions, although it'll be audible, that we can't keep going like this. And Chen is going to go back to fingering their injury, the gaping hole in them that's stuffed up. And then they are going to stop running around the rim of that cavity and reach in.
Mm.
And they will cause themselves pain in so doing. And you will hear Chen go, no consequences, no consequences, no consequence, as they are experiencing this pain, and will try and see through the illusion to try and figure out where the ritual room is.
Roll it with a +2.
Yeah.
And I'm trading you harm for harm on this one, by the way.
It's not a great roll. We've got up to a 10.
Okay. Take 2 additional harm as you...
2 additional harm.
2 additional harm as you no longer are satisfied, or at least stimulated, by just going around the rim of this wound. You actually have to go inside of yourself to connect. So fucking uncomfortable.
All right. Can I take a stab at that?
Yeah, what are you looking to do?
I also have enhanced awareness, so I want to try and see through the illusion.
Okay.
So I have to figure out where I put my dice roller here.
He's like, where did that tab go?
I have +1, so it's a 19.
Somebody came out swinging. I just want to clarify. This is in Granny's room, right?
Yeah, this is in the Nexus, because that's where we would make the next choice as to where to go.
Okay. First thing for you, Chen, as you go deeper inside of yourself with these fingers, you are feeling tissue. You are feeling something that's not tissue that you shouldn't be touching from the outside, that oxygen shouldn't be touching in this degree. But you go into yourself. You hear the granny behind you sigh as she reaches the destination that she's been aiming for. And you look up where the top of that elevator shaft is going into the ceiling, and you see, what's the best way to describe this to you? I have never been in this position before, but I'm going to give it to you and assume that you haven't either, and we're just going to pretend together. Imagine that you were in New York City, and you have those massive vents that are on the ground, those exhaust vents that are on the ground. Imagine that you're standing at the bottom of those looking up. What do you see from a city standpoint?
I mean, it's almost like looking up pillars, right? That reach up into the sky, and you can't really see their top because their tops are just stabbing into the sky. So they might as well go on forever.
And that's what you see, are just never-ending pillars that are rising above you. The city is dark. It is cold. You don't know why you know this, but there's no sun. The sun is long burnt out, or it's fully run its course, or maybe someone took it. There's no activity. It's silent and it's cold, but you know this place has a name. You know that it's Metropolis, and you know if you climb the top of this elevator and either get it to activate and go up, or you just climb up, you will be at the base of this city. It takes you back to that image that was on the wall of the stables where someone was drawing a pattern, was drawing the beginning of a ritual to open up a gate to Metropolis. Someone succeeded, and it's here. You don't know whether or not that's where you should go. You just know that that is exactly where it is at this moment. You look down, and this floor is a lie. I don't know how best to describe that to you other than you know that it's not real. It is tangible. It is simultaneously grounding, but you also know that it is full of deceit. And there is something beneath the floor, and it has thousands of eyes. And you now, because you hit the middle of this one, something senses you. It has eyes, thousands of them, and all of them flicker and look up to you immediately through the floor. And I need you to roll me a keep it together as 1,000 eyes all look at you simultaneously.
Keep it together is going to be, is it willpower? Yes, it is. We are at a 9, but with the injuries so far, that's -2. So that's going to take us to a 7.
I'm really happy for you. The strain is too much for your mind to handle. The GM chooses a reaction, cower powerless in the threat's presence, panic with no control of your actions, suffer emotional trauma, or suffer life-changing trauma. I'll meet you halfway with this one, Heinrich, because what I want to do is ding you for another 4. You are looking into the face of an angel. You decided to push the illusion, and I think the house and the illusion wants to push back. However, I'm open to negotiations.
I will be happy with the outcome so long as I can convey to... I mean, Chen is saying it. It can be argued whether it is to their companions or not, to their sister or to something else. But Chen says, take us up, while looking at the elevator and the elevator shaft, clearly indicating that that is where we need to go. 4 ticks on stability will take Chen to broken, which means that you get a move. I also get +1 to see through the illusion, which is not helpful right now. And I'm definitely never going to pass keep it together roll if I was ever going to do that.
Ever again.
But no, I imagine Chen is, their mind is just going to snap, and I would imagine they go unconscious or they become just comatose. I don't know mechanically everything that happens when you go broken.
Oh, I'm looking at it right now. I got you.
I imagine that, they may go comatose because they are existing mentally in this state that they've always sought out. But the problem is they can't get out of it now.
I am looking at the broken chart because I knew you were going to be the one that broke this game. I literally have it up sitting in front of me in preparation for this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause.
Thank you for thinking of me.
I love you, babe. I'm literally here for you. What we're going to do is hop over to Desi really fast and address this 18 that they rolled. Was it 18 or higher?
19.
This 19 that you rolled on the See Through the Illusion. So for the sake of time, what I'm not going to do is describe the exact same thing I already gave Chin. You know that Metropolis is, it's not technically above you because you could go back upstairs and be fine. It's up through this elevator or chute. You can climb it, you can reactivate the elevator, and you're going to be in Metropolis. That's a city that you don't want to go to. Desi, that's a place that you don't want to go to. That is a place that you are unprepared to go to. And with a 19, you also know, despite what Chin told you, that's not where Popper is. Popper is down that corridor right there. With a 19, whatever this angel is doing, it doesn't see you the way that it saw Chin, but whatever this angel is doing, it's almost finished with her. And when it's finished with her, everything will be consumed by fire. With a 19, that fire that you've been avoiding, that you've been running from, that you've had evacuated out of you as a child is sitting right there somewhere above your intestines. It starts small like an almond, but it is enough to start igniting everything inside of you. You understand that beautiful fire that Popper was crying and screaming about. You understand why she was screaming, because it's the most terrifying sensation you have ever had to tolerate. You know why she was crying. Those were tears of joy, because it is also one of the most comforting and arousing sensations you have ever had to grapple with. With a 19, you might be able to get Popper out of here. But with a 19, it's not going to be Popper anymore.
I'm not Desi anymore, so.
Jumping over very quickly to Chin. Chin, here's what I'm choosing for you, babe.
I would just like to say that Chen, I don't think, was asserting that Papa was up there, but was merely asserting that we needed to go up there.
That you need to
that
go
was
up.
where we needed to go, which I think is accurate as far as Chen is concerned.
There's a lot of things accurate as far as Chin is concerned.
Yep.
We're gonna help Chin with some of that accuracy right now. So one of the options that I have when a character goes broken is to shift the character in time and or space. Heinrich, you know my GMing style enough to know exactly where we're going. So I should probably just tee you up and ask you, because this is going to close your character out for the game. And you're going to be stuck in this loop from the moment that you turned your back on her to the moment that the ambulance carted the body away. That's going to be your loop for the duration of time. Tell us about the day your sister drowned.
You know, the police reports show that Chen was hanging out with friends, talking with friends, and that their negligence resulted in their sister's death. That's partially true. Chen was away, but that was earlier in the day, and Chen did return to their sister. In fact, just in time to see their sister begin to drown. But she was very far out in the water. That would have been very dangerous for Chen to do. I mean, who knows what would have happened? They might have successfully pulled out their sister, or they might have been pulled down themselves and died. Who's to say? All Chen knows is that they stood on that shore, caught in that moment before success or failure, just watching their sister drown.
Chin shifts out of time and or space. Chin makes that last declaration. We need to go up. Chin looks to the ground, sees something that they weren't supposed to see, and in an instant, they're completely gone. I need both Desi and Paz to roll me a keep it together. And Chin, you are stuck on that beach, suspended in that loop of a moment.
I've achieved it. I'm in that moment, right before decision, and I'm there forever.
I keep it together as a 10 modified.
Go ahead and choose your one. Say it again, baby.
Mine was a 16.
Desi, you know what's happening here. And you know you're on a clock. And you don't have the time to grieve or reconcile what the hell just happened to Chin. Where did he go? What happened? That doesn't matter. You know what's beneath you. You have a background in supernatural experiences like this. That angel's not going to wait. Polly's not going to make it much longer. You are able to keep it together, grit your teeth, and stay the course. Oh, but Paz, talk to us, baby.
Yeah, I think Paz becomes obsessed with carrying something with him. The knowledge that the house and the family is problematic and always has been. And so he becomes obsessed with the tie off, the end point in all of this. And so he is going to redouble his efforts to find Popper and put the estate to bed.
The GM has to ask, does that mean putting your future wife to bed? And by to bed, I mean the bed we're actually talking about, like to death.
Yeah, I think obsession is obsession. And I think that Paz came here for a very specific reason. And it's the faces within the theater and those which were encountered mark in the cavern chamber, this poor elderly woman who's hyper focused on a specific thing, are all they're a litany and a legacy of the estate. And Paz might hyphenate his last name, but Laraine is there. It's just a trick for the phone book and for word searches. But he can't hide that anymore, and so he has to figure out a way to get to a point of completion. And so I think when he becomes obsessed seeing Chen wink out of existence, I think he sort of doubled down. It's one of the things that has is as an advantage is that he's stubborn. And so he probably grits his teeth too, but comes to sort of a completely different resolution about the end game, as it were.
The house, the angel, the GM are all very curious about how much of a completionist Paz really is. Because if this house needs to be put to bed, Paz is this house. We're very curious to see exactly how far that obsession goes. But until then, Desi, you know the way. It's that one.
So Desi needs to interrupt to say that despite, or perhaps as a result of his success at the previous maneuver, they are probably now in the throes of victim of passion, one of their disadvantages.
Oh boy.
We've just directly confronted the can I get Polly out thing. So I think I need to roll on against that.
I'm really excited to see where this goes.
I'm sure you are.
Just remember, Desi, Chen led the way.
He might be
Catch
right
on
behind
up.
you. He might be
Yep.
right behind you. We might be doing this giveaway early, guys.
Is the flare done?
That flare was left.
Yeah, it was thrown.
Oh, that's right. Want to rummage through Chen's backpack, see if they've got another one.
There's no backpack with Chin. Chin and that whole Chin is
The whole
gone.
thing went.
Yep.
Chen is gone. The whole thing. Okay. All right. Well, I didn't bring any of that. I just brought normal fire making stuff. So, okay.
You hit a 7. Can you, because Bridget's not looking at that disadvantage, and I already told y'all I just sent them to you. I didn't read them. What are we working with? I know there's options on that sheet. What are we doing?
Well, 7, I'm fine. No.
You sure?
Yeah. So I am completely in the passion's grip. The GM takes 3 hold.
It did not give me 3 holds. Did that Billy really give me 3 holds?
All right. The GM can spend hold to let your passion steer your actions. For example, I may yearn uncontrollably for the subject of my passion, and then I must seek it out or reduce stability. -2. My desire drags the subject of my passion into my dreams, perhaps trapping them there. My passion becomes tainted with jealousy and anger, making you want to control and damage it. My longing leaves me feeble vis-a-vis the objective of this passion, or my passion can attract creatures of lust wishing to feed off it or make pacts with me.
It's so good, and you did it to yourself. That's what I love most about this. You were like, you volunteered this one. This is great. So holds mean I don't have to use them right now. I can use them when I want to. And let me tell you, I am about to start spending money at the bank here at this very next scene. You know where you're going, Desi, and you know you don't have a whole lot of time. And Paz, you don't know where you're going, but you also know that you don't have a lot of time because you can feel this house getting stronger.
So I'm gonna like start walking purposefully, and over my shoulder, I'm gonna say, "Come on, Paz, it's time to put this house to bed."
Yeah, I'll follow behind Desi. I'll give them a few steps just to, give them a little breathing room, and the camera will probably focus in on my jacket, and I will pull up my jacket just slightly, and what the camera sees on the back of my belt is the handle of a very long knife. And I walk into that room with her. Him.
Okay.
There's no way that I can articulate this to you guys in a way that makes sense, but with that 19 that Desi just wrote and passed, with you being home, and home being you, it's that moment when you're intertwined with the person that you love the most. It's that moment where, not just before you're getting ready to climax, but that penultimate moment just before it, when you can feel it coming. You know that you're getting ready to crest the top of that hill and you're getting ready to drop. That's where the house is right now. You step into the room. This is a central chamber that is covered in stone slab. In the center, it looks like some type of altar has been constructed, again with just a piece of single stone slab. And there are trinkets or offerings all over it. There are more hot pink carabiners. There's a Pez dispenser. There are condoms unopened. There are batteries, cough drops, spray paint, even a steroid inhaler. And you're looking at the trinkets on top of this empty altar. And you're thinking, it's like, okay, so this is whatever these people had in their pockets when they arrived. That's what they've put here. And there's soft moaning and humming radiating from this room, but there's no one on the ground, and that's because everyone is above you. Directly above this stone slab is Popper. She is, image going up for the Twitch, she is on her back. Her arms are hanging loose. Her legs are spread wide. Her eyes are looking towards the ceiling, and she's hovering there about 6 feet off of the slab, and she's just hovering. There's nothing holding her. There's nothing suspending her. She's just hovering there. Her eyes are looking forward at the ceiling, and there are tears that are just running down her face. And spread out around her, surrounding her from the ceiling, there's some type of contraption that they've built here, and there are at least a dozen people that are suspended from hooks on this ceiling, all facing Popper. Their backs have been spread where their flesh has been pulled out to give the impression of angel wings. None of them appear to be crying out in pain. You can see flesh stretching and tearing. You can see that they are also hovering back and forth. And that's what you just walk into this room.
I jump up on the table and reach up and try to pull Polly down.
She's 6 feet up. Are you over 6 feet, or is this going to require a hop? I'm just curious.
I mean, with my arm reach, it's well
You're
over
good?
6 feet. Yeah.
What part of you do you grab? Because you're going to be able to float her back down.
I'm gonna send. I don't want to like tug on her arm, so I'm gonna try and reach up onto her belly and push her down at the waist.
Okay. So you reach up and get on your toes and you wrap your hand around your waist and you're able to just very gently start pulling her down. Paz, what are you doing?
I'm probably watching for a moment as it go up and pull Popper down. But I think what I'm interested in is the people above who
Mm.
are suspended. And what I want to know from the game master is how many of them are family members.
There are 12 people suspended from the ceiling right now. 8 of them are family members. 3 of them are group 1 that you sent down here. And 1 of them is Polly Popper's bodyguard, Mr. whatever his name is. I'll throw his picture up as soon as I find it. Mr. Joshua Harris. I'll also give you this pass. When Desi starts pulling Popper down, you can notice there's a quick like 1.5-inch shift where all of them drop as well. They're not coming down as quickly, but they are definitely responding to the fact that Popper is being disturbed.
I'll step forward just a little bit and whisper to Desi, we're going to have company soon. Not the good kind.
Do what you need to do.
I don't think you want that. You see, everyone sometimes needs to take a walk to the dark end of the street. And that's where we are. This whole thing that happened to Popper and to you, I reach behind my back. It's really my fault, in a way. And I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for the pain the family caused you. It's not right. It never was, but the family kept doing it. And it lured me back here to the house for a specific reason. That's why I went upstairs. I had to see it for myself. I had to meet someone that I won't get a chance to meet. And so what I really need you to do is run as fast as you can from this room as soon as you can. I'm going to step up on the altar plate that was left for her, and I'm going to extend my arms up towards my family as they come closer and closer. And I'm going to say to my family, it ends here and now. I am the Laraine estate, and I slit my throat.
So, since my interaction with the angel, it has been clear to me that I can't get Polly out of here intact. And honestly, I'm never going to be intact after this. Watching so many people be tortured, people die, people that I know. And knowing that not only does this kind of evil exist, but that this won't be the last time that I have to see it. I can't get away from it. So the effect that this knowledge has on me is that Polly's not leaving, and I'm not leaving. And the wall that I had previously that has prevented me from completely giving in to dark desires, to vulnerability, has also been the wall that's prevented me from telling her that I love her and from giving in completely to that kind of relationship as well. So in my final moments here, whatever is going to happen, I'm not going to try to run. I am going to make love to Polly in the house and let the house participate in any way it sees fit. And going to let that fire connect the two of us as I show her and tell her that I love her, as whatever happens, happens.
You make love to Popper on the altar. You're bathed in this gorgeous white light. That almond of fire that was in the center of your chest that you've been trying to run from, that you've been trying to resist, that you've been trying to hide from, erupts. It erupts with Poppers, and you have never felt this close to her. You tell her that you love her, and she looks to you with dreamy eyes, and she tells you that she loves you too. And in the throes of each other's arms, you don't realize this, but you both levitate back to that same point where Popper was originally hovering. It doesn't matter, because what's gravity to you now? What's time to you now? You have her, she has you. You've made your decisions, and you don't see around you how 7 of these angels fall from the ceiling. You don't see how they collect Paz's body. You don't see as they break ribs and open him up from the back. You don't see as they cry and they wail over this loss. You don't see as they string him up and they pull his lifeless body up to spin next to theirs. You don't see or hear or feel how they grieve. You don't see the sun beating on Chin's skin as he's watching his sister drown again and again and again, and knowing that it's their fault. You don't feel the sensation and the pride of being called stone face. You don't feel your foundations or your moorings as well as you do, because they're still slipping into the swamp. And then you realize those aren't your sensations. Those are the sensations of the house, but you're connected with everything in the house. And one by one, there's a flash of brilliant light in the ceiling as each of these angels erupt into an absolutely incinerating blaze of light. And the last thing you understand is looking into Popper's eyes as your eyes burn out and they melt, and the pain shoots through you, but it doesn't matter, because you've never been this close to her before. And this is the first time you've ever surrendered to the fire. And you know what, Desi? It feels fucking great. And that, friends of the Symphony, is where our show ends for tonight. Thank you so much to everyone who has participated and or is currently watching the replay. You guys are indeed the best part of waking up. My nervous system is flying off the charts right now. We are going to go ahead and pick this giveaway sponsored by the Old Ways podcast. Actually, before I even hit the giveaway button, cast, how are y'all?
I'm good.
I'm good. This is the game.
I'm great.
Okay. Whew. Picking the winner. Oh, Towie! Congratulations, Towie, for winning a hardcore copy of Kult Divinity Lost 4th edition, I do believe, sponsored by the Old Ways podcast. Mike, thank you so much for the PDF and for your time being here and for being awesome. And holy shit. The cast and crew are going to take a brief break, and then we're going to come back and do our post-symphony gala. Basically, we're going to sit around and talk about what the fuck just happened and how we got through it. You'll probably see our pets. Maybe you won't. But to get access to this particular content, you do have to be a backer of Symphony at the, I believe, the concert master level or higher, but you'll see that if you go to our Patreon at patreon.com/Symphony Entertainment. If you'd like to hang out with us on Discord, there's a link somewhere in the chat or on our website at symphonyentertainment.com. Couple special notes. Before I close out the auditorium, give the cast a chance to say their goodbyes, and we wrap up. I am going to be taking some personal advice from a friend of mine that is also in the professional streaming space, London Carlisle, and I will be taking the entire month of April off from streaming. Symphony will not be streaming the entire month of April. I am going to go rest and get my whole life together right now. You can still catch me and everyone here on this particular stream at Chaosium Con, April 13th through the 16th in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I am going to post a quick link in the chat. You can still buy badges to come out and hang out with us. So you can catch us in person in April, but for April, Symphony will not be streaming at all. However, in May, We're coming back swinging. Right now, this segment is rolled out as Miskatonic May. I might come up with a better name, or one of you might, and I'll take it and run from there. But I'm going to be focusing on the Miskatonic repository and all of that content. So if you're not aware, the Miskatonic repository is an online platform where you can self-publish and monetize content for the 7th edition Call of Cthulhu rule set by Chaosium. There are some really incredible scenarios on the repository. Heinrich is a huge leader in that community, as well as a best-selling author there. And actually, Mike is too. He has an Electrum bestseller out there on the repository. Yep. I am going to be bringing on GMs who are going to be running their own content the entire month of May. So if you want some Call of Cthulhu in your life, definitely come and check it out. Second half of that, because we're going to be running so many, I'm probably going to need additional cast members. So if you want to stream, if you look at this and go, wow, that looks kind of fun, I could try it, please holler at me. Either join our Discord, and when you get to the roles, hit streaming support or cast and crew, whatever I have it labeled, and it'll tag you, email me or reach out to me. I did a count one time. I think 90%, and that's not me being exaggerative, I actually counted at one point, I think it's 90% of people who have streamed with the Symphony have never streamed before. We are new streamer friendly. So if you have a webcam and I can get your audio situation together and it's not super strenuous, please holler at me because I can coach you and walk you through it. I'm still a beginner with launching it. You can come and get some practice with us and play some amazing Call of Cthulhu or other games in the future. So that's everything that I have Symphony-wise before we empty out the auditorium. Let's go around one more time and say goodnight to our symphonic cast. Tara, tell us who you are, where we can find you, and what you do.
I have been Tara Roy. I don't do anything professionally regarding gaming. You can find me at Chaosium Con in 2 weekends from now. Please join us for shenanigans and games and whatever. A couple ass slaps and a hug, I guess.
I'll be slapping. I'll be slapping Tara's ass the entire con. You can go ahead and get in bed with that now. Heinrich.
Well, I was Chen Wu, but I remain Heinrich Moore, and I am a Call of Cthulhu community content creator. Hopefully, one of the folks that you'll see more on this channel in the future. And yeah, I mean, this was amazing. Thank you so much, Bridget, and everyone. I really think that this is what Kult is. This is the game, and yeah, look forward to so much more in the future.
Whew. And our sponsor and our friend, a whole ass Mike Diamond.
Hey, hi, I'm Mike. I run the Old Ways podcast. I helped sponsor the stream, which was fantastic. I had a wonderful time. You can catch me all over the place at Chaosium Con this year in a couple weeks, where I'll be on panels. I'll be giving a seminar, and I'll generally be causing all sorts of shenanigans all over the place. That is my job. And yeah, come out, check us out, join us. It'll be a fun time for sure.
Thank you guys for everything that you do that makes everything that we do possible. We really appreciate it. We hope you have enjoyed the Symphony, and we look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Have an absolutely wonderful night. I will catch you guys in May.